All right, so we've got this nice level spreader of dirt up here that we just flattened out right above the waterfall. And what we're thinking is we're going to take this old concrete bench of the customers and set it like right in here so that they can actually sit right here, look down at the patio in the house, observe the waterfall, because this is also a really cool view from up here. We'll create a little pathway just through the mulch, maybe a piece of flagstone or two if they really want, and then we're going to be setting some more outcroppings over there. We're going to redo all this. We got a big one planned for over there, so we're thinking they just may have added on some different steps like I originally planned, but if not, we're just going to kind of adjust those to get them to be able to walk right up to this spot so that they can come up, walk along this area, take a nice little breather, sit on this bench, because this is about the only flat spot in this property other than down below, because this is such a severe slope. We'll get this all flattened out. We're about to set one big massive outcropping here, again, to plug this hole. We don't want this water coming through here. We'll converge these two walls, and eventually we'll cut in another outcropping here, and then we're going to be continuing some stuff over there for some erosion control. But the idea is to tie those spaces visually together, making it all look like there's a natural cleft of stone that existed in this space before, giving purpose to this waterfall. So all these little details that we're working on now, those really are just as important as the waterfall, because that's what anchors this to the space and makes it feel like it's supposed to be here. These outcroppings, the accents that we're doing, all of that supports what happened in the middle here. The waterfall is beautiful, one of the coolest ones we've done. I love it. However, without these other supporting mechanisms and outcroppings, it just is not going to look right. So we're off to the races trying to get all this stuff done, controlling that erosion, getting everything terraced up in here and fixing all of this. And then, like I said, a little bit of stuff over there. We got a lot of cleanup here to do, but we're moving. Waterfall's running great. We'll throw some lights, get this all mulched up, and this thing is gonna be looking phenomenal. Homeowners are over the moon about this thing. They were really kind of getting questionable about what's going on, because this just looked like a rock mountain here. They couldn't envision how this thing was going to come together until that water was actually running. So we pushed it yesterday, fired this thing up, and I tell you, they are just in awe of how this came out, as well as us. We knew what it was going to look like, but for the customer, until they see that water moving, it's almost impossible for them to envision it. Now it's right in their face. We were able to get it in, guys, just barely. It was straining the machine's power to the max, but this makes this whole thing now come together. You see how tall that thing is there? We're gonna plug in some smaller stuff there, just look like it fractured off, but now we have this elevation that's higher than the waterfall, which now makes sense that that's coming down through a valley. The idea and the illusion we've created here, because they originally were going to have us do this stream all the way up into the woods, and it was another 50 foot of stream that they were hardly ever going to see, and without tearing out all these trees, we were going to have too much trouble. So I wanted this view with the stones that are behind it to make it look like it still may have been coming from up above, to make this appear actually bigger than it is. But what we've really done is just this smaller section, which is not small, but it's smaller than taking another 50 foot running up the hillside. But now this fills that void. We don't slope so hard here. It's starting to make this whole thing make sense, to make it look like this big rock formation was always here, and this waterfall carved out what we see going on there. So we're going to continue with this concept, popping some more big ones in here so we can start bringing these steps up the hillside, because we really need to get those going. But we had to tie up all these tree limbs, which I didn't want to do any damage to them, because they're going to be so awesome once we let those down. But you can see we've got all kind of rigs going throughout the upper canopy here to keep them out of our way so that we're not damaging them. But this stone is going to be so cool, because we're going to leave the grade a little bit lower back on this side so you can see this as you come by. Miguel's going to grab a big boulder right now that we're going to set there. I'm going to cut this back, and then this will be our pathway to the seating area. So we've gotten started on this berm that's redirecting this water that's coming down here because it's just tearing this whole hillside up. So we've got a couple outcroppings just roughed in, trying to get them soil spread in between, and we got to continue that all the way up. So we're starting in one corner, painting our way out of the room. We got all this nice and terraced out. We finished the steps. We've been moving today. I'll tell you, the guys got this whole area down below graded, that area fixed up and graded. We're ready to start throwing some seeds, straw mat, and mulch. Oh, and if you hear that thunder, hopefully we don't get that rain. Looking sketchy. We're gonna try to do what we can to finish this up and hopefully keep our fingers crossed. But these steps just came out awesome. I love how it winds right through that little crevasse in between those two stones there. That is exactly what we intended. And then if you look at it from down here, it's got this awesome twist and bend to it. Just makes it such an interesting way to come up and interact with this landscape eventually. The homeowner just said that they were thinking maybe having us do some flagstone here now, which I kind of agree. If they're going to be sitting tables with small legs and chairs, they're going to sink down into that mud, even if we do all of the weed mat that they're wanting to do there as far as fabric goes and mulch. So this is going to be an awesome view. I love this staircase. It just twists and bends all the way around the outside. We've got this whole area outcropped. We started doing some stuff inside of the tree canopy here. We've got more to do over there, and then our other set of granite curb steps that we've got to continue. So we're going to bring in some more big stuff for tomorrow. We've got all that to do. We've got to finish this whole area. We're probably going to be short on soil, unfortunately, but I am super happy with the progress we made today. Things are just looking amazing, and this is coming together just beautifully. What's going on, Nature's fans? Chris again with Nature's Recreations, and we are back out at our Chesterfield waterfall. This was that pondless conversion from the old leaky pond to the new pondless, and everything has been done. We've got grass growing back in, so I want to come back out and shoot the final footage so you guys can see what this thing looks like after it's developed. And I'm telling you, you are in for a treat. Well, I tell you guys, I love coming back after we have finished up the projects and the homeowners start to make things their own. They got this brand new set of teak patio furniture, nice cushiony seats, a nice little conversation table. They left this nice glass one, which I really love. That was such a unique piece there. And they've already been hard at work doing some plantings of their own. They just were so inspired by what that waterfall did to their space that they got right into it and have been busy ever since we left. Just look at how these perennials and all this softscaping changes the look of the space. It was so bare and naked before, and just the addition of some of these plants really start to make this feature feel like it's been here forever. This custom drain system is working exactly as intended. We've got everything regraded. Water flows right over this ledge down into this drain collection pit, and then it flows right over to that dry creek. I'll show you that in just a second, but it looks exactly how I intended for this to come together. The basin and this guy are all kind of one. This is serving its function. We separated it off. I love these ledge pieces. This gives the young ones and even the old ones like me the opportunity to step right out onto these and get right up close to this waterfall, because who wouldn't want to come check this thing out. It is unbelievable. I tell you, I just love all the little details of this waterfall. We've got so many cool little separate individual falls going on. This was that one stone that had these two really cool crevices running right through the sides that we just had to get water on. So we actually teed off of our plumbing line that runs behind here, put a little 1-inch valve in there, and then split that off to get this little horsetail fall that you see there. And it just adds a little something extra over here instead of just being a big framing stone for the waterfall, which, by the way, is just amazing how it cuts really deep through this cavern. It looks like this thing has been eroding hundreds of years. And that was the exact intention, that we've got this deep crevice formation of rock that appears like over hundreds of thousands of years that water just came through there and cut down through this solid bedrock. This is a separate little stream that's actually running on its own pump. So we've got our waterfall spillway up there, which, by the way, is that falls that you can really only see when you're coming in from that entranceway over there, and that's the intention. This guy is hidden pretty much almost entirely from the view of that patio. I did that intentionally because I wanted them to be able to see this guy when they come into space, to draw them through and want to eventually end up right there. And that has been the gathering spot. Client has said that everybody that comes here just doesn't even want to leave because they just have such an enjoyable time sitting and talking and just enjoying nature, which is our ultimate goal. We want people to get back out into nature and enjoy what it has to offer. The decision to move these benches from over by the front door where we were always walking in was probably one of the best decisions this homeowner made, because it invites people to come up and enjoy this space. It's a totally different perspective from down there, but it's still just as beautiful. It's a little bit quieter. You're getting a different vantage point to the garden, but the idea of that destination makes it all worth it, in my opinion, for the design, because it draws people's attention up here, which also then draws their eye up farther where we added and changed all that grade. This was an area where the old stream and falls kind of came down and almost really cut right underneath this bench here. You kind of see the remnants of that shape. We tried to really fill that in, and our goal was to start directing water away from this area because it was all funneling right down to the stream before. So all of the repurposed granite steps that we put up there, the outcroppings, everything up there was intentional to not only decorate this space and really dress it up, it was also to shed water away from where we didn't want it to go. But now what they have is a continuation of this rockscape going all the way up to the edge of the property at the top of the road there. So it draws your eye up there and makes the space feel bigger, and actually it makes it feel like that waterfall could have been born up there and running underground and then pops out down here, which is really what I wanted to do with the design, because initially they were talking about trying to have that waterfall all the way up the hillside there. And I said, hey, we can definitely do that, but why do you want it all the way up there when almost never going to be able to see much of that? But we can create the illusion that it was or did originate from there, but then you're putting your investment down here close to where the viewing area actually is. With the addition of all this plant material and the grass that's greened up, this space has changed so dramatically that it's almost unrecognizable from before. This was all just dirt and the straw mat. The grass is finally starting to work its way in and fill in a little bit of patchy areas where that probably was running off from those rainstorms, but now he's got a base he can start adding to that. The bottom came out great, so did this other side over here, but it just softens the space and warms it up so much that it feels exactly how I intended when I originally designed this. And I'm so excited to see this thing start to look like it is intended and maturing with that plant material around it. But check out this stepper ledge step path that cuts right between those big boulders. That is such a cool feeling, walking between those stones to get up to that secondary terrace where those benches are. It just feels like you're walking through a mountainous pathway, and it makes you immersed into the space, which is our goal when we're designing these things. One of the second best ideas that this client had last minute was to change and add this new ledge rock staircase, because now that they have that bench seating area up there, they really needed a good solid way to get up there. And I tell you, these things look 1,000 times better than that old original granite curb step pathway. Those really couldn't stack on top of each other and make a proper staircase. I'll take you up and show you that. And we did the best we could, but they were all curved because it literally was old granite steps or curbs along probably a city street or someplace that were reclaimed, and they look great. It was cool to have those, and we did a really good job repurposing them up there. But for this area, these fit in with exactly what we have going with all the other weathered lime boulders. These are actually weathered limestone steps, and you can see they have tons of character. I love how they dance and twist and turn along the hillside. It really creates interest with this curved set of steps because you're walking again amongst the stones, all the plants. You have a destination and a purpose now, and a safe way to get to that awesome seating area. Let's walk up in this boulder outcropping shady garden space, because this is such a cool setting. I tell you, when I was a kid, this is where I grew up, in the woods, playing amongst the boulders and the creeks, and this is where I draw my inspiration. But I just love the feel of that upper canopy with the shade, these big boulders. Eventually they can come through here and really plant this up with a ton of different shade, perennials and ground covers to really soften this up and hold this soil in place, because again, they still have this massive slope that's going along down here, and we want to control what goes down towards that waterfall and basin. We also bermed this little area up enough and accented what was there so that any water that does come off of that upper area there now will run track along the edge of that berm and then down to the lower section of property. And that's exactly what we wanted. It's doing multiple things. It's not just aesthetics, it's also function. I didn't want to forget, we also came in and built this retaining wall for him out of some of his existing stones that we repurposed from the original waterfall for his future garden shed room that he's going to put here. We have a little extra sidewalk around the outside. This area is nice and smooth, flat, so that we can get a structure right on top of this. This before had a big apple tree that really was not in a good spot, never produced fruit. So we decided to tell the client, let us take that out and let's bump this space as much as possible to open this up and to really make this functional. Here are those existing granite steps that he had in place. We did add the last 3 there, and then we came in and set this big monster ledge piece and a couple other of his stones repurposed to get a nice solid walkway up to where those benches are, because they do actually spend some time out here when they're tending to the garden and also just enjoying the shade underneath this tree. I tell you guys, when you do work for an appreciative client, it really shows. I'm out here shooting video. The homeowner came out and just made me a quick little quesadilla with some orange slices there and said, hey, sit down and grab a bite. And I said, I'll get right on that as soon as I'm done filming here. But how cool is that? We often will get offers for people to get us lunch and things along those lines, and it's really not just them buying us lunch, it's the gesture and the appreciation of what we've done for them, and that is a testament of who we are and what we are all about.